Hey y'all, how's it going? It's Nate here, and I'm back as promised with the second solo from the Dire Straits song, Sultans of Swing, and this one is a bit of a beast, so get ready for a challenge if you want to get into this one. As usual, the tab and the jam track are available for you on guitarfam.com, so if you haven't gone to guitarfam.com, go there, create your complimentary account. You'll be able to access the first module of all of our premium courses with that complimentary account. We look forward to seeing you there. Let's go ahead and get into this. All right, let's start with what key we're in. You can think of this as D minor or D harmonic minor, or the parent major key, F. So the chords in F are F major, G minor, A minor, B flat major, C major, D minor, come back down here for this D minor, then E diminished, and back to an F. All right, now let's talk about the chord progression we're playing over. It's not the same chord progression as the first solo. This one's a little simpler. It's just 3 chords played over and over again in a 4-measure format. So it's a 1 measure of D minor, 1 measure of B flat major, and then 2 measures of C. So 1, 2, 3, 4, B flat for 1 measure, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, C again, 2, 3, 4, and that's all you have to think about the entire time. All right, let's get into the solo, just kind of measure by measure and lick by lick. It starts off right here. That's the first lick, and I'm thinking it starts over a D minor chord, so I'm thinking that D minor chord, the A shape, with a minor pentatonic that goes along with it. And that's really what I'm thinking for these first 2 measures. So 8th fret with my 3rd finger on the B string, full step bend with some vibrato to let it back down, hit that 8th fret of the B string again, 6th fret of the B, back to 8, and then back to 6 in the next measure. And we land on the 7th fret of the G string, put some vibrato on it. And that is the 3rd of the B flat chord that we just switched to. So when I switch to that B flat, I automatically see this B flat bar chord that uses the E shape, and I'm playing the 3rd out of that chord. So B flat, D, I'm playing that D, okay? So let me play the whole lick first, and that covers the first 2 measures. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, look at that B flat right there. And I am using my fingers to play this just because I wanted to get as close to Martin Knopfler's sound as I could. But it had its own little challenges. Like I got a callus on my thumb that I don't normally get because I pluck the strings more. It's different from doing fingerstyle, but just realize that you don't have to do it with fingers. You can do it with a pick, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, the next little lick is this right here. Okay, and we'll see where that's from. We're moving into a C. The 8th note before the next measure is kind of telegraphing to what would be a C major pentatonic, and I'm thinking about this C right here. C using a G shape, or this C major pentatonic scale. So that's what I'm thinking about most of the time for this. But the lick starts off on the 8th fret, bends it up a whole step and lets it back down, plays the 8th fret again, and you go 5, 8, 5, with a hammer on and a pull off, and then you just dip down into the next major pentatonic, C major pentatonic down here, just for a little quick, then dip down to 3, 5, 3. And then you're back into where we started with this C major pentatonic here, 5, 7, 5 on the G string. And then you move over and bar the 5th fret of the D and G strings, pluck them, and hammer on to just the D string with your 3rd finger on fret 7. And then pull off and let 5 of the D and G ring out there. And then kind of roll your finger over to 5 of the A string and hammer on 5, 7, 5. Okay, so I do a little slide down there at the end. I would put it a little faster for you. And let me, again, the same thing as all these solos that I go over with you guys. The first step you should take with this is to listen to the solo so much that you can sing it and internalize the rhythm. That'll make it much easier to play. You know, listen to it while you're memorizing with the frets, and then when we start to put the rhythm to it, it'll be much easier. So here you go, it's a little bit faster. And if you're playing with your fingers, I found the fingers that I was playing this with to be very important. So index finger, and then I reach back with first and second fingers for that double stop, and then my thumb. Maybe sometimes I'm using my index finger for that. But I think thumb mostly on the last one. And it's whatever you want. I found that the fingering for my right hand on this, for some spots, and I'll show you when I get there, I had to really work out exactly what I was playing, otherwise I kind of got tongue-tied, because I'm not used to playing like this. I normally play a solo like this with a pick or hybrid picking or something. Anyway, that's beside the point. Here's the first 4 measures for you. Okay, from here we're going back to D minor, and I'll play this first little lick and then we'll talk about where it's coming from. Okay, so that's 2 16th notes that are muted, but I'm getting my bass camp kind of set up on this D minor that's a G minor shape, right? So that graphic will be here for you to check out. So it's just 2 dead notes and I mute the G and B strings. And then 1 unmuted on the 10th fret of the B string. And I'm already set up to play that 10, 8, and then 10 on the G string, then back to 8 on the B string, and then back to 10 on the G string, and then all the way down to 7 on the G string. So that lick from the D minor into that B flat will be, then I switch to my middle finger on that same note, hit it again, and slide up to 9. And that gets us into, we move from the 3rd of the B flat chord to the 3rd of a C major chord. I'm just seeing this E major shape for my C major chord. And that note is right in there. That E on the 9th fret of the G string. And from there, I have my index finger on the 8th fret of the B and high E strings, barred on both because they both need to be held down for this next lick. So then you hit that note you're fretting on the B string on the 8th fret, hammer on to the 10th fret with your 3rd finger, pull off back to that note you're fretting on the 8th fret with your index finger, then back to the G string that you're already fretting there on the 9th fret. And that's the first half of the lick. So from there you have this repeating rolling pattern where the strings you're rolling on are just high E, B, and G, but the actual lick is after this. Then you have high E, 8th fret you're already fretting, and then your 3rd finger comes down on the 10th fret of the B string, pull off to the 8th fret, and then 9th fret that you're already fretting. And literally I'm just singing this E-shaped C major chord. I'm just playing the top 3 notes of it. And here's the rolling. And you do that 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the 5th time you do it, you cut it short. You only play the first 3 notes. So high E string, 10th and 8th fret of the B string. And then you go mute the strings. And he just kind of chucks on them for a little bit there for the end of that measure over the C. And that whole thing is covering that C major chord from the time you slide up. So one more time, a little bit faster. And one thing that really helps me to get this lick down, this is one of the tougher licks to make even, was to play super lightly with these fingers. So I slide up. I found that the harder I dug in, the harder it was to get that even. And you can tell in the recording that he's playing really lightly there too, so just keep that in mind. So let me play that 2nd time to the progression for you. And one more time a little faster. Now for the toughest lick of the solo, in my opinion. This one was really weird for me. It wasn't the left hand that was tough as much. It was the right hand. I had to really consider what fingering I was using to play this. Right? Because normally I'll play that with a pick. But this time I wanted to keep it to these 3 fingers, right? So I'll teach you the lick, and then I'll tell you the fingering I was using first. So it switches to D minor. And I'm just using D minor based on the E minor shape, right? The box that, the most common minor pentatonic box for us guitar players. 12th fret of the G string, up a whole step, and then 10 of the B and high E strings, and I roll across those. And then 13-10 of the B string, pull off, right? 13 to 10, 12 of the G, back to 10 of the B with your index finger, and then 12-10 of the G string with your first and third fingers, and then grab the 12th fret of the D string with your third finger, but lay it kind of flat, because you have to roll it over to 12 of the A string, okay? And then back to 10, 12 of the D, and then 10 of the G, 10 of the B, and that's that first full measure, so. And you end on the 12th fret of that G in the next measure. So we play it slowly and then fast, and we'll talk about the right hand, so. Okay, a little bit faster. All right, now let's move on to the right hand fingering for this lick. I had to be really deliberate on the way I play this because my fingers are getting kind of twisted and tied, tangled up. And my body, after doing some practicing with my body, kind of naturally found the best way for me to do this. And then I kind of analyzed it, made a little shift in it, and then that's what I end up coming with. You'll notice that if you practice a lot, your body will kind of figure out licks for themselves. But another thing I did to make this lick manageable was I chunked it into 2 little halves. The first part of the lick, I went thumb, index, middle, and then for the first pull off, I'd go index, thumb on 12, index finger on 10, thumb on the pull off from 12 to 10. And when I felt my body do that pull off with my thumb, I knew that was done with the first half, the first chunk of this lick. So. And I knew it was time to move on. It was okay to move on to the next little chunk of the lick, which was when I go 12, 12 here with my third finger. I go index, thumb, and then index, 10, 12. And then I make a big shift with my thumb to the G on 10, and then my index finger to the 10th fret of the B string. So that's how I ended up having to do it. That's all on the tab for you, all the fingerings to the right hand. But I found that worked best for me. You might find something else that works really good for you. But I found if I chunked it up into 2 little smaller phrases, it's much easier for me to execute while I was playing it. So. Okay, so first chunk, second chunk. Okay. And at the end of that measure, you have these 2 little choked 16th notes I use on the G and B strings. I just play thumb, middle, and then I have my third finger set up on the 10th fret of the B string to press down and get the 10th fret of the B string. So, and then you have an open G string there. Then you have another couple choked notes on the G and B. And then I play the 11th fret. And then play the 11th fret of the B string 2 more times. So that whole little phrase leading up to the C, the 2 16th notes before the C, 1E into 2E into 3E into 4E. And then from there I go. And what I'm thinking about here is just a C chord using a D shape, but I'm thinking about a C7 chord. And so this 11th fret that's bent up all the way in measure 12, a full step on the B string, With my third finger, use all three fingers to bend that up on the 11th fret. And then hit, while you have that up, hit the 12th fret of the high E string. And that's just the third of the C chord. And then hit 11 again, that's bent up already. Let it back down, and then reach back with your index finger on the 10th fret of the high E string. And then you have two little dead notes getting ready to go into the next little lick. So that whole little phrase, those two measures of the C chord with the two little 16th note pickups into it. So that leads you up into kind of that little more famous part of the solo. And let me just play those last four measures over that progression. Here you go. So. Three, four. Okay. And then this is where we get into the which it's fast, but it's not really that complicated. It's just arpeggios over the chords as they go by. So the first arpeggio is over D minor. Since we have a D minor chord for one measure, this is the arpeggio or the chord shape that we're thinking about. Think about an E minor shape for our D minor. Really, just thinking about D minor pentatonic. You can think about it that way if you want, but it's just 13, 10 from the high E string with a pull off, and then over to 10 of the B string, and then back to 10 of the high E string. That's the main little lick whiff. Then do it again. Say, and you have this little. So you end up doing it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, and what I would really recommend doing, the hardest part about this to me is getting it even sounding and in time. So I would just put a metronome on, slow it way down, slow it down, no metronome at first, and just go through it. And when you're feeling comfortable with the coordination, bring a metronome in to see if you can even it out. From there, you move to a B flat major chord, and the B flat major chord I'm thinking about is just this D-shaped B flat major chord. So that's what I'm kind of visualizing as I play this. So I play my stuff over my D, and then I play the same thing. It starts out the same way, but to play this B flat arpeggio shape, I start off 13, 10, just like the D minor, but I hit 11 of the B string, and I do that, and back to 10. I do that 1, 2, 3, and on the fourth time I stop on the 13th fret, and I just kind of choke it, stop the note short, and then I play two dead notes on the B string and the high E string. And I do that with my thumb and middle finger because I'm buying myself time to get this arpeggio up to a C shape. I'm just going from a B flat here to a C here, and I play the same lick. The same lick over two measures of C. So the lick is 15, 12, 13, 12, and I'm playing two measures worth, and that would be, let me just go from the beginning of it, that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and halfway through on the 8th when you stop on the 15 and you come back down to 10, which is a pickup to do the D minor again, and you just repeat the whole thing over again. So I would just take this one little arpeggio at a time, work on to get the fingering down, the right hand fingering, find out which one's best for you, and just realize where these chords are coming from. This is D minor, E minor shape, B flat major, D major shape, and you're just scooting that up to a C with a D major shape. So it sounds like. And on 15, go back down to 10 for the last two 16th notes before you start it over again. B flat, same thing. And that last time you do the C, you do it just for two measures. And you end up just doing ending on the 12th fret of the high E string. So you did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, before going on to the next measure. So let me just play that whole thing and connect it for you to play the arpeggiated section over the progression twice. So. All right, after you play that, it goes back into the main progression one last time before getting back into that little theme. But you start with a D minor over D minor, so I'm thinking this D minor pentatonic, D minor shape right here, right? But it's 15, some vibrato, bend up a whole step on the high E string, and then do it again, and let it back down, then 13, back to 15. Next measure back to 13 on the high string, and then 15 on the B string right there. So that's the third of the B flat major chord. So I'm really thinking this little B flat major chord using the A shape right there. And then I play 13 of the high E and B strings. And then so let me play that lick over the D minor and the B flat for you. So. And then this bend up on 15 and let back down gets you into the C. And then you do it again, bend up and let it back down. Kind of like that. And then you have this little C major pentatonic lick that we get into. Let me play that one more time. So. And then here comes the pentatonic lick. And I'm just thinking about this C major pentatonic based on this C shape. Okay, in the lick, let me play it for you. Okay, and this is really the last lick of the solo. So you have 12-15, hammer on, pull off, and then 13-15 on the B string, and then scooch down to the next pentatonic shape down this C major pentatonic, right? So scooch down to 10, 13 with the hammer on, pull off, and then 9, 12 on the G string, and then you end by hitting the 10th fret of the D string and sliding out. So shift. All right, so let me play those last 4 measures for you, slow then fast. Okay, a little more up to speed. And that's really it. From there, I just go back to the little theme, which is just D minor, C, B flat. So that's something we'll cover in the rhythm guitar lesson for this, but it's just D minor. Then I hit this little partial C, then B flat, back to D minor, and then back to C. And there you go. Lifts it up, and this is a great way to work on your triad and stuff like that. All right, that's it for this one. I know this one's a bit of a beast. It took me probably 2 weeks to get this down to where I could play it to where I was happy with it, and my thumb and fingers were not used to this type of playing. I had a big blister on my thumb from popping the strings while I was practicing, and even my index finger too. So just goes to show you that if you could play like Doc Watson fingerstyle acoustic stuff, doesn't necessarily mean it translates to like Mark Knopfler type stuff, which is definitely the case for me. But you could play this with a pick, hybrid picking with just fingers like I did. I just wanted to keep it as close to the original as possible. Anyway, if you have any questions about the song, email us support@guitarfam.com or leave a comment below. And if you haven't already, go to guitarfam.com, create your complimentary account, and you'll get access to the first module of all of our premium courses. And if you like what you see there, there are monthly and annual membership options to where you get access to the entire library of premium courses. I hope to see you there. Bye.